You are watching Auth Masterclass, and in this video we are going to discuss about password reset flow. So there will be two type of password reset. Okay, one, when the user is logged in and he will go to his profile section and he will update the password voluntarily. He will update the password. So in this he will enter the old password as well as the new password. Okay, this is one flow. Second flow is initiated through the forget password flow. Okay, that means the user doesn't remember his password. Okay, so in this flow what we assume that the user know its username as well as the OTP. So in this scenario, how the user will reset the password. So these are the two password reset flow that we are going to discuss today in this video. Okay, so let us start. So in service, what I will do, I will add a new service and I will say password reset.service.js. Okay, now here first let us do the voluntary password change. Okay, that means the user is logged in. Okay, he knows his password but he is trying to change it. Okay, so that is the first flow that we will see. Okay, so for this what I will do, I will create a function. Okay, export const. Okay, I will say reset password, okay, equals to async, and I will take the request and the response. Okay, and it will be a regular arrow function. Okay, and here let me correct the password spelling. Okay, now first thing what we need the user ID, right? And from where we will get the user ID? So this user ID is logged in user, right? So we have the validate JWT middleware, right? That means when the user is trying to access a protected path, what we are doing, we are adding this validate JWT token middleware, right? If everything is passing, what will happen? Request.user ID will have the value of payload.user ID, right? So if I query the request.user ID, I'll get the current logged in user ID, right? So what I can say, I can say const user ID equals to request.user ID, right? So this will be the user ID who is trying to initiate a password reset flow. Okay, then what else? So when user is doing password reset, what it will send? It will resend the old password and new password, okay, as well as the OTP. Now if you have seen multiple websites, there they will ask you new password and reconfirm the new password. Okay, so that is the flow intended for the front end. Okay, on the back end, so on the back end we don't have to check the new password and confirm new password, right? So usually on the front end we usually try to hide the password, right? So for that purpose user is asked to re-enter the password. Okay, but on the backend we don't need that, right? So user will only send the old password, new password and OTP. Okay, so I will say const, I will say old password, then new password and OTP. Okay, this will come from where? This will come from request.body, right? Now first thing first, what we will do, we'll take the user ID, go to the database and fetch the user. If the user doesn't exist, throw error, otherwise we'll proceed to next step. Okay, so I'll say const user equals to await, okay, user dot find by ID, okay, and it will take the user ID. And here what I will do, I'll add the .js extension. Okay, now what we have to do, if okay not of user, that means we'll throw a error, right? So let me copy the error message. You don't want me to see type all this error message, right? So of course you can change the error message based on your need, right? So now after this validation, the user is valid and the user exists. Okay, then what we have to do, then we will check the old password. Okay, so we have the user object, we will take the user object, go to the database and check the old password using the Bcrypt, the same logic that we are doing in the login flow. Okay, so I will say const is password valid, okay, equals to await, okay, bcrypt dot compare, okay, and let me import bcrypt. Okay, import bcrypt from bcrypt, right? Then bcrypt dot compare what? Compare the old password with respect to the user dot password field. Okay, so we are checking the old password if that is correct or that is not correct. Okay, if that is not correct, we'll throw out the error, right? So if is password valid, okay, and I will say and it's not, okay, not password valid, then what we will do, we will return this error message, right? Then now assuming the password is also correct, right? Now we will check the OTP. So what we will say, if user dot is TOTP enabled, okay, if this is the case, we'll say const is valid OTP, okay, equals to what we are going to use, the OTP lib, right? So let me quickly import that one. So import OTP lib from, okay, OTP lib, then OTP. So I'll say OTP lib dot authenticator dot check, okay, check what, the OTP with respect to what, user dot TOTP secret, right? So we will do the comparison with respect to the user TOTP secret that we are storing, right? Then if not is valid TOTP, okay, what we will do, we will return this error, simple. So this error is now returned, okay. Now till this time, if everything is passing, that means the user ID is valid, the old password comparison matched, and the OTP is also valid, right? So in that case, what we will do, what we have to do, we have to of course reset the password, right? So what we will do, and remember we are doing the password hashing before we are storing, right? So what we can do, we can say const hashed password equals to await, okay, bcrypt dot hash, okay, which password, the new password, and it will do 10 rounds of hashing, okay. Now we have the hash password, right? So what we have to do, we'll say await user dot find by ID and update, okay, find by ID and update. So what this will take, this will take the user ID first, because we are doing find by ID. So what will be the user ID? So user dot underscore ID, right? Great. Then what are the fields that we want to increment? So here what we will do, we are going to use the MongoDB driver logic, okay. So here I am going to say set, okay, set what, I want to set the password to new hashed password, okay. And what else we have to do? Remember, when we are doing password reset, we have to increment the refresh token version, right? So that the old refresh token that are generated previously, they will become invalid, right? So what I will do, I will say inc increment, okay, increment what, increment token version by how much, by 1. That means it is not saying update it to 1, it is saying update by 1, okay. That means if it is 2, make it 3, if it is 3, make it 4, and so on, right? Update by 1, okay, right? Now once this is done, what I will do now, what else you have to do, we have to delete the refresh token, right? So I will say await refresh token dot find by ID and delete, okay. And what will be the parameter, user dot underscore ID, okay. So we are deleting the refresh tokens as well, okay. Then what we will do, we will say res dot status, okay, 200 and JSON, and it will take a message, and all I'm going to simply say is password reset successful, okay. Of course, if you want, you can change the error message, give a different error message based on your business need, right? Now once this is done, what we will do, we'll go to auth routes, okay, and here I will attach it to the router. So router.post, okay, I'll say reset password, okay, and I will call the function reset password, okay. And what we have to do, is this enough? No, right? We have to add the JWT validate middleware on top of this, right? Like how we are doing here on the protected dummy route that we created, right? So here also what we have to do, we have to say validate JWT token, okay. Then only validation will happen, and once validation happens, then only we will have the user ID on the request object, right? Otherwise this will not work. Then what we have to do, let us go to Postman and see the flow once. So I'll open the login page first. Okay, so here what I'm sending admin password and I'll send the OTP. So now this time I'll not be sharing the phone screen. I'll just simply from my phone screen I'll enter the OTP from here, right? So first what I want to do, I want to show the login flow. Okay, so login is currently working with this password text. Okay, so what I will do, I'll add the OTP from my phone that I'm looking here. Okay, so 396276. okay, now what I will do, I'll send a request, right? So what is happening, I'm able to generate a token, right? Now what I will do, I'll go to reset password. Okay, what I'm saying, old password, which is password, new password is password 1. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll enter the OTP, right? So let me enter the OTP, which says 846198. I'm checking on my phone. Okay, so I will send request for this one. So what it is saying, password reset successful. Great. So now what I will do, I will come to the login page. Okay, and here I will enter the OTP, right? So here what I'm doing, I'm sending the old password. Okay, so now if I send the request, what will happen? It will say fail to login. Why? Because the password has been updated, right? Now what I will do, I'll go to the new password. Okay, and what else I have to do, I have to enter the OTP. So 465, okay, 346. Okay, and I will send the request. See, now with the new password, this flow is working. So now I'm able to get the access token. With which password? The new password, not the old password. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll reset my password. Okay, reset back to the original so that I'll not be confused. Okay, so what I'm doing, old password is now password 1, new password is now password. Okay, and I'll enter the OTP. Okay, so 996134. Okay, and I will submit. So it says password reset successful. Okay, so I'll copy this one because this is the same OTP that is running here, and I will send the request with the password 1, right? Now it is saying fail to login. Okay, when it will be when it will allow me to log in, when I change it back to password. Okay, and I will enter the OTP 166, okay, 287. Okay, let me send the request. So now this will work. Okay, so now what I'm able to do, with valid login, okay, I am able to access the reset password flow. Okay, that means I am voluntarily changing my password. Okay, and how this access token is working here. So if you go to script, okay, here what I'm doing, I'm getting the auth token from environment variable and I'm sending it. So this flow I have shown you previously many times, right? So if you go to login, and here if you go to post script, as auth token, we are storing this token value, right? So whoever needs, they can read this token like this, okay, in the Postman. So that's how this flow is working. Okay, so one part is done. Now coming to the second part, what we will do, the user initiates a forget password flow. The user initiates a forget password flow. Okay, that means the user doesn't know this password, so we cannot go with the flow of old password, new password, right? So what we have to do, we'll do it in two phases. Okay, in first phase, the user will enter the username, okay, and it will submit a request, that is initiate forget password flow. Okay, then based on the username that we are sending, what we will do, we'll generate a JWT token, and this is not a access token. This is just another token that has some payload, and it is very short-lived. Okay, say 5 minutes or 3 minutes, like that. Okay, and this is the response that we'll send back, okay, to the initiate forget password flow. Okay, then what will happen, the user will take the token, okay, and on that token, what it will do, it will give us its new password along with the OTP. Okay, why OTP? Because that is the only identification that currently we have for the user, right? So user, they have to give us the token that we sent in the previous step, the new password and the OTP, and if everything matches, we'll reset the password on behalf of the user. Okay, so let us check that flow. I'll minimize this function. Okay, and I will say export const, I will say initiate forget password. Okay, and this will be of course an async function. This will take the request and response. Then I'll add the function body, right? And what parameter we are expecting? We are expecting username, right? So I'll say const username. Okay, this will come from the request dot body. Right now, what we have to do with this username? With this username, we have to go to the database and find the user, right? So I'll say const user equals to await, okay, user dot find one, okay, find one how? By the username, right? Then here also we'll do the same thing. If okay, not user, then what we will do? Return rest dot status, okay, status of what? 400, and JSON. Then we will say message, and I will say failed to reset password, right? So if you want, of course you can change the message, right? Now what we will do? We have to generate a JWT token, or token basically, okay? So for this, what I will do? I'll go to lib, okay, and I will copy this function and I will paste it here, okay? And here I want to rename it to generate, okay, password reset token, okay, and I will mark it as 5-minute expiry, okay? Now I'll come to env, and here I have added another JWT reset token, okay? So we have different auth token, we have a different refresh token, and in the same line I have added one more reset token, okay? So I'll take this reset token, okay, and this I will use, okay? And of course whatever the payload, right? Payload will be mostly similar, okay? Now like this I will be able to generate a password reset token, okay? Now we have to do one more thing, okay? Now suppose the user has initiated a password reset flow, okay? So what will happen? He will get a token, right? Now using the token, he will go to the server, to the concerned API with the new password, and he will reset it, right? Now what might happen? The reset token that we generated, if it goes to wrong hand, okay, what will happen? On behalf of another user, the hacker will be able to reset the password, right? Which we don't want, right? So what we will do? The same thing that we did for refresh token, versioning. So what we will do? We'll version the reset token as well. By default, it will start with 1, okay? When the user initiates a password forget flow, along with the payload, we will send the token version, okay? Which token version? Not the refresh token version, okay? It is a reset token version that we will add it as another field in our database, okay? Now when the user sends the token along with the new password, we will do the version comparison. If the version matches, we will do the password reset and increment the version, and also we have to increment the refresh token version here, right? As well as we have to delete the refresh tokens from the database, right? So these are the 3 things we have to do. Now even if the reset token goes into wrong hand, even if it's short-lived, right, in that short duration somebody still can misuse it, right? Now since we have the version check in place, once the user resets the password, the reset token is no longer valid, because it has the old version and we have already updated the reset token version, right? So it will be one-time token only, right? So now let us implement this flow. So for this, what we will do? We'll go to user schema, okay, and here I have the token version. So what I will do? I will copy it, okay, comma, and I will paste it here. And what I will do? I will name it as reset T capital token version, okay, and of course it will default to 1, okay? So now what I will do? I'll go to my database, okay, the MongoDB, and here we have the token version, right? And in the same line, what I will do? I will add another field, okay, and I will name it as reset token version, and I will update the data type to int32, okay, and I will mark it as 1 and update, okay? Now why I am doing this manually? if I don't do this manually, what I have to do, I have to go through the user registration process again, right? Otherwise this version will not be created, right? These tokens will not be created. So just to save some time, what I'm doing it manually. Okay, you don't have to do manually. If you want, you can do it when you are doing the development, but since this line has been already added in the schema, next time when fresh user registers, it will have the default token version and the reset token version, right? So for our ease, okay, to say if you can, so for our ease, what I'm doing, I'm just manually adding it. Okay, so now the reset token version is 1. Okay, right? Then what we will do, I'll go to VS Code. Okay, and what I will do, I'll go to the password reset service, and here I will generate a reset token. Okay, so what I will do, I will say const reset token, okay, equals to generate password reset token. Okay, and what payload it will take, let us send the username. From where this will come, this will come from username, right, and user ID. This also we can send, and it will come from user._id, right? What else we have to send? We have to send the reset token version, right? So reset token version, and this will come from user.reset token version, right? Now how we will send this one? The same way we were sending the refresh token, that is, we will directly inject into a cookie. Okay, that is the safest approach, so that if we do that, even client side code cannot read this. Okay, only server side code can read the cookie. Okay, so what we will do, we'll send it as a HTTP only cookie. So what I will do, I will say res.cookie. Okay, and I will name it as reset token. Okay, and the value will be reset token. Okay, and I'll send a configuration object, and it will be HTTP only to true. Okay, why HTTP only to be true? This is what makes the client side code not able to read this cookie. Okay, then res.status of 200, and what we have to send? As such, we don't have to send anything, right? So I'll just mark it as an empty JSON, right? Where we are sending it as part of our cookie. Okay, great. So now what we will do, I'll go to initiate password reset. Okay, and before I go here, what else I have to do? I have to attach this function to the route. Okay, so what I will do, I will say router.post. Okay, and what name I am using? So if you see, initiate password reset. Okay, so this is the name that I will give. And what is the function name? Initiate forget password. Okay, so I will say initiate forget password. Okay, now do I need to add the validate JWT token? No, right? Because this is only for the logged in user. Okay, here the user is not logged in. Yes, forget his password. Okay, so let us quickly see. So I am sending username as admin. Okay, so I'll send a request. Okay, so if you see 200, okay, status. Okay, and we'll go to cookie. So if you see, we have a reset token. Okay, so we are able to get the token in the cookie, and it is HTTP only, right? Great. Now this flow is completed. Okay, so now we have done the initiate forget password. Okay, now what do you have to do? Confirm forget password. Okay, in which finally user will take this cookie, okay, the reset token, and he will send the new password as well as the OTP. Okay, so I will say export const confirm forget password equals to async, okay, request response, and it will be a function. Now first what we have to get? We have to get the token from the cookie. Which token? The reset token. Okay, so I'll say const reset token equals to request.cookies.reset token. Okay, then what else we need? In the request, the user is also sending the new password as well as the OTP, right? So let us get that one. So I'll say const, okay, new password and OTP. This will come from request.body, right? Great. Now first thing what you have to do, we have to decode the reset token, right? Then only we will be able to get the user ID, username, and the token version that we added as part of this token creation, right? This payload object that we have to retrieve it back, right? So what I will do, of course, I'll add it in a try catch block, right? Because the JWT verification, it will throw error, right? Exception. So I will say import JWT from JSON web token. Okay. Then I will say const payload equals to JWT dot verify. Okay. Verify what? Reset token. Okay. And with respect to what? With respect to this JWT secret. Okay. So I will copy this one. Okay. And I will pass it here. This is needed, right? So with respect to this JWT reset token, we created the payload. So when decoding, we have to pass the same token, right? Otherwise it will fail, of course, right? Now we have the payload, right? So payload will have the username, user ID, and token version, right? So let us find the user object from the database. So I'll say const user equals to user dot find one. Okay, find one by username. So I'll say username to come from payload dot username. Okay, then we'll do our usual validation. If not user, okay, what we will do? Res dot status, okay, 400, and JSON we will say message unable to reset password. Okay, don't give specific message when it comes to security. Okay, I have explained it before, I am saying it again. Okay, make this information as least specific as possible. Okay, don't say password failed or password validation failed or OTP validation failed or username doesn't exist. Simply say unable to log in or fail to reset password, like that. Okay, now what we have to do? We have to validate the TOTP, right? So what I can do? I can come here and borrow some line, right? So I'll simply copy this one. Okay, and I will paste it here. And what I will do? I will change the error message, right? Great. Now what else I have to do? Now I have to generate. So see here, the user exists as well as the OTP is validated successfully, right? So now I have the new password, right? So what I have to do? I have to generate hash out of this, right? So what I will do, I'm just borrowing some lines so that it will be easy. You don't have to see me typing everything, right? So now what we are doing? We are generating the hash password, right? Great. Then what we have to do? We have to, I'll borrow this two line also, right? So we have to update the user field, right, with the new password, right? And we have to increment the token version, right? Because when user is doing password reset, okay, we don't want the old refresh token to be valid, right? We have seen this flow previously, right? What else I have to increment? I have to increment the reset token version also, right? Otherwise this reset token that we received here, okay, that can still be misused. It can used once again, right? And somebody on user behalf, they can reset it again, right? And user will be locked out of his account, right? So we don't want that. So I'll say reset token version by 1. Okay, and as usual we'll delete the refresh tokens, right? And at the end we'll say res dot status of 200. Okay, and I will say JSON and I will pass the message. Okay, I will say password reset successful, please log in. Okay, or whatever error message you want, right? And what will happen in case of the exception? So here also let me copy this error line, and I will send it. Okay, now what else we have to do? This function, okay, we have to attach it to a route. Okay, so what I will do, I will say router dot post. Okay, and let me check the postman and get the name. Okay, so confirm, it says confirm password reset. Okay, so I will paste it here and I'll remove the duplicate slash. Okay, And here what I will do, I'll confirm forget password the function. Okay, so I will say confirm forget password. Okay, so this I will attach. Right now what we will do, we will come here. Okay, and we will initiate a request. Okay, now what we will do, we'll come here, and what is our current password? Password, right? I'll mark it as password 2. Okay, and I'll open my phone and I'll go to the OTP app and I will enter the OTP 616245. Okay, and I will initiate a request. Let us see. I did a lot of copy paste, so what happens? Okay, so it says password reset successful, please log in. Now I'll come to login, I'll come to body, and with what we reset with password 2. Right, now let me use the password. Okay, and I will enter the OTP. Okay, so 396411. Okay, and I will send it. And if you see this is working, right, so it should not work. Okay, so something is wrong. Okay, so let us check the code. Okay, and here we are incrementing version reset token. Okay, and so I'm for sure I'm missing the await, right? So see here the await was missing. Okay, so here I should do the await, right? Now we'll do the password reset again. Okay, so we'll initiate a new reset. Okay, then we will confirm password. Okay, so what I will do, I will enter the OTP. Okay, so 213477. Okay, so now it is saying password reset successful to what? The password 2. Okay, now I am sending password 1. Okay, and I will enter the OTP, so 109986. Okay, I'll send this request. Okay, see, login failed. Okay, when this will work? Only when I send password as 2. Okay, so OTP is still the same, so I will send it. Right, see, now I am able to generate the token with the new password. Right, now what is missing here? One more validation is missing, right? What we have to do? We have to do the token version validation, right? So what I will do, I will say if, okay, if payload dot reset token version not equals to user dot reset token version, then what we have to do? We have to send the error message, right? So shall we test this flow? So what I will do, I will initiate a password reset request. Okay, then what I will do, I'll come here and change it to password 3, and let me enter the OTP from my phone. So it says 208363. Okay, and I will send it. Now it says password reset successful. Okay, so now if I use password 3, okay, I'll use password 3 along with the OTP, which says 147214. Okay, so with this password 3 it is working, right? Why? Because we did this password reset. Okay, now what I will do, I will not do another initiate. Okay, what I will do, I'll try to simply use the old token, okay, that we generated previously here. With this token we were able to reset it once. Can we reset it again? So for this what I will do, I will set the new OTP, okay, 460423, and I will send the request, and this time let me change it to say password 5. Okay, so I'll send the request. Okay, unable to reset. Why? Because we already used a token. Okay, and when doing some code review, okay, I noticed here we should mark it as return. Okay, otherwise what will happen? This will throw error, right? So I'll mark all of this as return. Okay, otherwise it will throw error, right? And here I don't need, here I don't need, because this is anyways the last response. Okay, great. Now with this we have completed the password reset flow. So we saw two types of password reset. One, the logged in user doing password reset, and another one when the user is going through a forget password page, right? So this is all about the password reset flow. I really hope that you learned something new from this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, because this is the kind of content I keep bringing on consistent basis on this channel, right? And I'll see you in the next video.